All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about that thing, that invisible force that holds so many of us back. You know what I'm talking about, the fear of what other people think. And we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to give you a real practical plan to break free and finally unlock what you're truly capable of. I mean, you know that feeling, right? That little knot in your stomach when you're about to share an idea or pitch a project or even just walk into a room where you don't know anyone. Your heart starts pounding, your mind is racing, and it's all centered on one question. What are they going to think of me? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. This feeling is so common, so universal, that it's actually been given a name, and that name is FOPO. FOPO, the fear of people's opinions. The high-performance psychologist Michael Gervais calls it an unproductive obsession. And that word, unproductive, is everything. It's all the anxiety, all the stress with literally zero benefit. It's the mental energy we waste just imagining what other people might be thinking. So now that we've put a name to it, let's talk about the real damage it does. How does this fear, this FOPO, actually get in the way of your potential? You see, the tricky thing about FOPO is that it works in quiet ways. It's not some big dramatic moment. It's that tiny hesitation, that split second where you decide not to speak up, or not to volunteer for the tough project, or not to go for that promotion. Each one of those moments seems small, but they add up, and over time, they slowly pull you away from your own beliefs, your own values, and who you really are.
But here's a really important thing to understand. If you feel this way, it doesn't mean you're weak or that there's something wrong with you. This craving for approval is literally hardwired into our brains. It's not a bug in the system. It's a very, very old feature. Just think about it for a second. Our brains are basically running on ancient software. For our ancestors, thousands of years ago, getting rejected by the group wasn't just embarrassing. It could be a death sentence. If you got kicked out of the tribe, you had no protection, no food. So that need to fit in, it was a survival instinct. The only problem is that survival instinct is now trying to navigate a world of Zoom meetings and social media likes. So if we're all hardwired for this, are we just stuck? No way. Absolutely not. This is the part where we take control back. And the secret isn't to just stop caring what people think, it's to start caring more about the right thing. And that begins when you forge your own inner compass, a personal philosophy. So what is a personal philosophy? Well, think of it like your anchor in the storm of everyone else's opinions. It's just a simple phrase or a single sentence that captures who you are at your very best. A great example is the football coach Pete Carroll. His philosophy is just two words: always compete. It's not just a nice saying, it's the internal guide for every single decision he makes. And the best part is, you can build one for yourself. This isn't some high-level, abstract concept. Michael Gervais gives us a really clear 6-step process. You look at times when you felt like you were at your absolute best, you think about the people you admire most, the quotes and words that always stick with you. You're basically just mining for the principles that you already live by, and then putting them into words. And if you want to know just how powerful this can be, listen to this. Gervais tells a story about a senior executive he worked with. The guy shared, with tears in his eyes, that his philosophy was to live his life as if his family crest was on his chest, to honor the sacrifices his parents made for him. I mean, wow, that is an anchor. That's a deep-seated purpose that no random opinion is ever going to shake. Okay, so you've done the deep work, you've forged this powerful inner compass. Now what? How do you take that internal clarity and show it to the rest of the world? Well, that's where your personal brand comes in. Think of your personal brand as the way the world gets to experience your philosophy. It's what shapes that first impression. It's what opens the door to new opportunities, and ultimately, it's what builds trust and makes people want to work with you. And let's be super clear about the difference here, because this is key. Your philosophy, that's for you. That's your private internal compass. Your brand, that's for others. That's your external reputation. The real magic happens when your brand isn't something you're faking, but it's a genuine, authentic expression of that deep-down philosophy. So building that brand becomes this really natural process. See how it all connects back? You can identify your strength because you know your core beliefs. You create a value proposition because you know what you stand for. You're consistent on places like LinkedIn, not because you're putting on an act, but because your philosophy is always your guide. Your brand just becomes the way you carry your philosophy out into the world.
Okay, so you've done the internal work on your philosophy. You've started building your external brand. Now for the most important piece of the puzzle. How do you actually live this stuff every day, especially when that old FOPO comes knocking?
You start small. Seriously, you practice living by your philosophy in low-stakes situations with people you really trust. Take little risks. Be a little more you. Maybe even be a little respectfully weird. Every time you choose to act from your philosophy instead of your fear, you're building up that muscle of courage.
But wait, what about feedback? We all need feedback to get better, right? This is where a truly game-changing idea from the researcher Brené Brown comes into play. She suggests that the only people whose opinions should truly matter to you are the ones whose names can fit on a tiny piece of paper, just 1 inch by 1 inch. Think about that. The people on your tiny 1 by 1 card are the ones who have earned the right to have an opinion. They know you, they care about you, and they're in the arena with you, fighting the good fight. This isn't about shutting out all criticism. It's about radically filtering whose voice you let in your head. Everyone else, it's just noise. Let it fade away. So really, it all comes down to this. FOPO makes you like a ship without a rudder, just tossed around by the changing winds of other people's opinions. But having a personal philosophy, that puts a compass in your hand and lets you take control of the wheel. So the only real question left is, where are you going to let it guide you?